Welcome, I'm Daz, and you're in the after party of Daz Cafe. We serve good living to you. Let's talk about the bland diet. Now, the bland diet has made some transitions. I'll talk a little bit about the traditional bland diet and more recently what is being prescribed. Well, a bland diet is a soft diet, usually a diet that is not spicy. However, we do know that some people who have eaten a spicy diet, let's say most of their lives or all of their lives, they may not have a problem. Primarily, it's low in fiber, it's a soft food, and it's usually not very spicy. Some of the disorders, like I mentioned, there are several disorders, but some of them would be gastritis. Now, gastritis is an inflammation in the mucosal lining of the stomach. That's gastritis. So I mentioned mucosal lining. The mucous membrane is a lining that protects the inside of our GI tract, our gastrointestinal tract. And so it's there for a reason, and it's a part of the immune system. So we definitely want to pay attention on what's going on with that mucosal lining that may be leading to certain disorders. Gastroenteritis is a viral infection, and it's a viral infection in the digestive system. So you may be asked to follow a bland diet if you have gastroenteritis. Inflammatory bowel disease. Inflammatory bowel disease includes Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. So the most common cause for peptic ulcers is a bacterium called Helicobacter pylori. And also the long-term use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, such as ibuprofen, Advil, Aleve, and Motrin. And a bland diet can also help with a number of other issues that a lot of us have suffered with, and that could be nausea and vomiting, also heartburn or GERD, which we would say is gastroesophageal reflux, which is when the acid in your stomach backs up and goes into the esophagus. So it's supposed to go from the mouth to the esophagus to the stomach, but sometimes that acid, because of the weak sphincter or muscle, it can leak back up into the esophagus. Now, in the esophagus, you don't have much of a lining. You have a lining, but not a thick lining. In the stomach, you're supposed to have a nice thick lining that protects it. So when that acid goes where there's not much of a lining, oh, you're going to feel that heartburn. Now they've gone to 3 meals. It's not a lot of milk and a lot of heavy cream and spices. You can possibly have that. Now, some physician will still not want you to do a lot of spices, so you would have to work through that. But the current bland diet has a lot of things that you do need to avoid, and I want to cover those very quickly right now. And the main point of the bland diet is to kind of give your digestive system a rest. So by eating soft foods that are not very spicy and not high in fiber, it will be easier for you to digest those. So here are a list of foods that you would want to avoid. Those foods are fatty dairy foods such as whipped cream or high-fat ice cream, strong cheeses such as blue or Roquefort cheese, raw vegetables and salads, vegetables that may make you gassy such as broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, cucumber, green peppers and corn, dried fruits, whole grain or bran cereals, whole grain breads, crackers or pasta, pickles, sauerkraut, and other fermented foods, spices and strong seasonings such as hot pepper and garlic, foods with a lot of sugar in them, seeds, nuts, highly seasoned, cured, or smoked meats and fish, tough fibrous meats, fried or greasy foods, alcoholic beverages, and drinks with caffeine in them. And you can go down the aisle in the grocery store and it's like a whole aisle of high energy drinks or other beverages and teas and coffee and they all have caffeine in them. So you're really going to have to be careful. And there are a lot of sodas that you may not think. We only think sometimes Coca-Cola, but there are a number of sodas that have caffeine in them. So it's time to read your label. And not only caffeine, but even decaffeinated coffee you would have to avoid. And so those are the things that you want to avoid on a bland diet. I'm sure you would do very well. Well, I know it seems like there's a lot on that list, but really that's not so bad. And most physicians nowadays probably are leaning more toward a liberal bland diet. So they're probably allowing you to have a lot of spicy foods, particularly if you can tolerate them. And you would know if you couldn't. But anyway, be careful of those beverages. This is not caffeine, but there are plenty of beverages out there and they all look so good, but a lot of them have a lot of caffeine in them. So again, I want you to read the labels, and I call this the Afterparty because I talk a little bit more intimately with you on diet and health. On Wednesdays, early evenings, I will post a cooking show talking about healthier ways to eat, and I demonstrate a number of recipes. And on Thursdays, I will post the Afterparty DasCafegoodliving. All of it is good living because at Das Cafe, that's what we serve. Well, I'm Das, I'm out, but I will see you next show. I am a registered dietitian, but my information does not take the place of your health practitioner's plan for you.